Okay, here we go. We're back to working on our 3-card Monty program as a Java Swing GUI. In the last video, I went ahead and created the GUI, but I don't have any code, so it doesn't do anything but close. So now I'm going to show you how to put the action listeners in. And I'm going to add a couple of new things that you haven't seen. So I have an array of buttons, so I'm going to use one action listener for all 3 of the buttons. So we'll get started here. So here's our project like we left it in NetBeans. I'm going to run it again just to show you the GUI. And the way I expect this will work is the user is going to click on one of the 3 buttons, which might or might not be the winning button, and then the program will decide that, and will maintain a list of how many wins for the player and the dealer. And then really don't need this, but I wanted to show you this text area and the scroll pane control. So we'll use that to keep a running total. So that should work pretty well here. So let's go ahead and get started building this now. I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen space here in NetBeans. I always recommend that you use all of your monitor. It's kind of silly to have a really huge monitor and have the window half open on it. I've also increased the font size here in NetBeans. I'm hoping that'll look a little bit better in the recording. It wasn't bad. It was readable in the first one, but maybe this will work even better. Okay, I don't normally do this, but I'm just going to add another helper method here. Called create action listeners. And again, NetBeans will tell me that doesn't exist. I'll pop on over here and tell it to go ahead and create it. That'll be down at the bottom, of course. And we'll go all the way down here. Again, I told you this code here is basically designed so you can't run it inadvertently. Most of the time I take that out right away. Alright. So I lost my mouse again there. I have a little trouble seeing the mouse here. I have to figure out a way to fix that easily. Okay, so we're going to have to create our inner classes here. So we'll start here with class. And I think I'm going to call this Monty Button Listener, which implements the action listener. Okay, so here's our first inner class. And right off I'll have to go ahead and import the action listener there, which is from the older AWT library. So, whoops, what did I do wrong here? Oh, my God, I wrote the. Here we go. Let's try again. Add import for Java AWT, event, action listener. Good, okay. And we'll come down here, and as you probably recall, this is a public void action, whoops, got to spell it right, action performed, action event, and then you can call this whatever you want. A lot of people use EVT, and some people use E, but E is often used for exceptions when you write exception code, so I try to use the EVT. Again, I have to add the import for the action event. And we're good to go. Okay, so interestingly enough, we're not going to actually, what's going on here now? We got some, alright, let's see, 3-card money is not abstract, is never abstract method. Well, that's actually not true. I have that right here. So it looks like it's taken the GUI a second to catch up. I'm going to assume that'll go away. If it doesn't, I might have something wrong. I'll have to fix that. Okay, one interesting thing about the program is it's actually going to determine the winning card or button when the user clicks one. So we'll go ahead and put some comments in here so we get our head together about what we're doing. I always like to do that. Then the program ends up documented at the end. Okay, so determine randomly the winning card. Okay, And the way I'm going to do that is I'll use the random class in the java.util, which of course I'll have to import here in a minute. And I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I have an array of buttons. So I'm going to actually just randomize which one of the three buttons is the winning one. Okay? So we're going to have something like this, J button winner equals, let's see, how's that go? I have to create a random object there, so I'm going to call that R&D. I'll do that in a second since I'm on this line. So random next int, and I think this is how I want to do this. 3 should give me a value between 0 and 2, which is of course the index. Actually, I made a mistake here. You see how that's a magic number? Instead, what we should do is use the name of our array and use the length. So coming back up here, that's called image button. So image button.length is the same as 3. So let's go ahead and fix that. Image btn dot length. And that's always a better way to go than just putting the magic number in there. Okay, I don't have a rand object yet, so I have to put that in. I only really need that here, so I'll do that right here. So random rnd equals new random. And then the only thing I have to do is I have to include the java.util random class. Now, good, okay, because there is another one in Java called math.random. Alright, what's going on here? Oh, you know what? I made a silly mistake, didn't I? So what this is actually is the index of the winner. So I'll just go ahead and wrap the image button around that. So image btn square bracket, come down here to the end and put another one in, and now we're good to go. Okay, so just to make sure you follow what's going on here, this code inside the square brackets is going to generate a random number, which will be 0, 1, or 2, because that's the length. It's the length that's 3, and that'll indicate one of the 3 cards or buttons. And then image button itself is the name of the array, so winner is the winning button. And so one of the things I'm going to do in the code, when the user pushes a button, I'm going to check to see if the button they just picked is the winner. And I'm going to use the action event element here to do that. So we have this handy function called getSource, and whenever we have an array of buttons or buttons that do similar things, instead of writing an individual action listener and a separate class for each one, which is really tedious, you can write one. So if you think about it, when you did the background color chooser, you probably had a red button listener, a green button listener, and a blue button listener. And if you wanted to add more, you'd have a bunch more listeners. When in fact, you could just go ahead and write one single color listener and then figure out which one of the buttons got pushed using the getSource from the EVT. So basically, the code to see if the button just pushed is this. Let's put a note in there. Did user hit the winner? And that'll be if. And now this is EVT dot, and then getSource. I'm trying to, there we go. That's weird, I'm not seeing that. There it is. Okay, so getSource is equal to winner. So think about what's going on here. EVT.getSource is going to be a button. Winner is a button. So this just says, hey, if that button the user pushed is the same as the one we figured out as the winner. Okay? So this code here in this block of the if will be for when the user wins. Okay? So let me just make a little note of that. Code for when the user wins. And then, of course, we'll need an else block And again, the comment there will be code for when the user loses. Let's see if I can remember how to spell loses. That looks right. Okay. Alright, so far so good. Still got that weirdness up there. I'm not sure what's going on there. Implement all abstract methods. Make class Monty button listener abstract. Let me pause for a moment and see what the hell's going on. Well, as is often the case, I have a simple typo. Action performed is not a class name. It's a method, so it should be camel cased. Once we do that, we're fine and dandy. Real quickly, I wanted to show you here, it gives you the option of adding the override annotation. You should probably always do that. It's part of the Java doc. Okay, so what's happened here is we overrode the action perform method. Of course, we do that every time we implement a listener class like this. Okay, so before I finish this, I'm kind of inclined. Now I'll go ahead and do it. What the hell? All right. So eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add images to my buttons, but first I just want to get the program up and running so I can test it and make sure everything works, and then I'll kind of consider that an embellishment. It won't cost me anything to do it this way. So at this point I'm in the code where the user has won, and basically what I want to do is set the text for the two buttons, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of make a loop that does the same thing as this. You'll see what I do here in a second. Okay, so let's say for, let's see, we're going to use indexes. So int btn equals 0 while btn is less than image btn dot length, and then btn plus plus. Okay, so this is going to go through the three buttons, and then I'm going to basically have this same code inside here. The reason I have to do this way is I don't really have names for the buttons, and although I know this is the winning button, I don't know what index it is. There might be a better way of doing this. I just haven't figured out how to do that. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to just save myself some time here and copy my code. Control copy, pop that here into the for loop. Control V to paste it. Let's move this baby over here and format it a little bit better. I like to do that as I go. It keeps me, I have trouble reading the code when I don't format it. Alright, and then another else clause in here. So what this is going to do is, if this is the winning button, it'll set the text to say that. If it's not, it'll set the text differently. Okay? So here we go. Image btn square bracket btn, which is my index, dot, and then I should have a set text in here. So set, there it is, set text, and then this button will say winning card. Actually, when you play the game, they're cards. Okay, I've been using the term button all along because in Java it's a button object. Alright, we can grab this real quickly here, pop down here, paste it in, and this is going to be losing card. That looks like losing. Okay. Now this doesn't really tell the user what happened. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and use the option pane, option pane show message dialog for that. Okay, so basically what I did is I checked to see if this is the winner, And then I go through the buttons and set them. And actually, I'm seeing now that I'm going to have to reuse this code, and I put it in the wrong place. I'd end up having to do the same thing down here. So it looks like really what we want to do is put this code right here, because we want it to run either time, whether the user won or lost, because that sets the button so you can see what they were. It kind of like uncovers the cards. If I was playing the game with cards and I had a little P under them, or if I had like 2 kings and an ace. Alright, let's see here. We can outdent this stuff now too. So that's going to be Shift Tab. Whoops. Control Z to undo that code I lost. And I fat fingered the keyboard. So let me do that again. There we go. Shift Tab. There we go. So you see how I've just fixed the indenting. So I put the code in the wrong place to start with. Alright. Alright. Let me think a second. I can actually test this now. And actually I want to get this back in where it was. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't screw up my documentation. No, we don't need that at all. Okay, we're good. Alright. So again, what this will do now is it'll change the text. And I could go ahead and create an instance of this. So let's find the end of our class here. And now here in the Create Action Listener, I'll go ahead and create the instance of the listener. So let's see, action. Wow. I hope you're enjoying my fumbling around here. Okay, so action listener, we'll call this card listener, equals new, what did I call that class? Monty button listener. Monty button listener. Looking good. Alright, so now I have the card listener, and I might have to go up at the top, and actually I have to declare that at the top. I forgot about that. So let's go ahead and quickly grab this. Control copy. That's Control C. There's my stuff. We can make it private. Paste it back in. And since now I've declared this up here, I don't have to have the... Actually, it's an error to have it redeclared, right? So this just initializes the one. I just want to make sure it's available. Okay, so now I have to add this to the buttons, and again, I can just grab the for loop to do that quickly, because I'm going to add it to all 3 of the buttons. And now the reason this works is the first thing we do is we use the event.getSource to figure out which button got pushed. Although again, because it's an array, it's a little tricky because I don't know what the index is. I don't really need to have that though, actually. Okay, so this code is just going to go through the 3 buttons and add the action listener. So this will be image btn, that's the name of my button array, indexed by my counter, which is btn, and then dot add action listener, and notice how the NetBeans picked up the card listener for me. So the reason I can use the single instance here of the card listener for all 3 of the buttons is because I used the event.source to figure out which one did. So hopefully you can see now how you could do the same thing with your card background color chooser that you did. Okay, I'm just about out of time. I'm trying to keep these down to 20 to 30 minutes. So let's see if this will work now. There's our GUI. And when I click on it, I lost that time. So losing card, losing card. Oh, so they're all set to losing cards. So I have a bug in my code. All right, let's quit. Why is the quit? Oh, I didn't hook the quit listener up yet. That's right. Okay. All right, let's go back in there and see. So there's the winner. And let's see, for button equals 0, while button is less than. So this line here should be setting. Yeah, that's interesting. It looks like it's failing to do the match. So, now let me go ahead and try something here. I'm going to put a little debug statement in here. Alt tab. Whoops, missed the tab key. Come on, damn it. Alt tab. And then what I want it to do is, wow, I didn't even take. Yeah, that's a problem because I don't know what that number is there. All right. Well, I've got a logic bug in my code. I thought about just restarting this, but you know what? I think you'll learn a lot from seeing that I can make mistakes and how I figured them out. So the problem here is this right here. This doesn't test against the button. So you know I have a for loop that goes through the 3 buttons, but I'm not using that here. So basically what I want to do here is replace this with my expression image btn square bracket btn is the counter there. Okay, so now what that'll do is that'll correctly set the buttons to show which one is the winning one. That's not the same issue as whether or not the user has picked the winning one. Okay, so we'll say reveal the buttons, or the cards actually. So reveal the cards. So this is going to show if the cards are winning or not. So let's go ahead and test that. By the way, quickly before I go and do that, originally I had this random code here inside to pick the winner, and I just basically ran the program with this code so it would display the index. And then I noticed that when I got the wrong button, it just showed all the buttons as being wrong. When I got the correct button, it showed all the buttons as being correct, which of course only one can be correct. And that's how I figured out that I had made a mistake here in my loop. Okay? Now, let's see here. I think I want to comment this stuff out here for now, because I don't think I've got all this code duplicated. And let's see if I can remember. Yeah, okay, good. So right now all this is going to do is just reveal the cards. Let's run it and see. And so then when I click on one of the cards, so now we've got it right. So I have a losing card, 2 losing cards, and 1 winning card. And so clearly the random index, which is still printing here, is 1. So 0 is losing, 1 is winning, 0 is losing. Okay, excuse me, 2 is losing. Okay, I'm going to stop. We'll pick this up on the next video. I'm trying to keep these down a little bit. So hopefully here it won't be much more to finish.